What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Monday Open. Big week, big, as they say in the US. Everything is big and better. Why is that? Because, of course, we've got the biggest earnings and we have the big announcements. The jobs numbers coming this week. The old Trump and Powell kind of show continues, and, of course, everything else. So welcome, everybody. If it's your first time here, we cover stocks, we cover bonds, we cover cryptos. We cover basically everything in the world. And of course, we also go through metals, commodities, and even this splash of real estate. Reason why we do that is all these markets are, of course, interconnected. Did you guys have a great weekend? I hope you did. Everyone have a good weekend? Family, friends, barbecues, hopefully not thinking about markets. Maybe one of you guys were that meme, the meme of that drug cartel guy waiting. What was it, Pablo? Pablo waiting around in the sewers and then in the house, just standing around waiting for Monday. I've got to say, we're a bit sick. And you know why? Because we must be the only people in the world that actually want Monday to sometimes come. What do you think, guys? I don't think anybody else wants Monday to come, except for stock traders, investors, and everybody else that is interested in markets. So let's talk about it all. We'll start off here with the S&P. Then we'll go through some of the other markets. We'll connect them together, and we'll bring them back around to what our thoughts are. We'll start off here with the S&P, and that is that we are pretty dull. We are bulling up, and of course, we are starting to see the potential end of some squeezes. So I was talking to a couple of guys that I like to say are pretty good at the old against trend type of moves, and they're starting to sniff it out. But at the same time, as I often do say on this channel, it's patience, react, don't predict. And this has really been a good case. We've got a lot for about the last 150 points. We've seen an overbought market. We've seen lots of margin. We've seen leverage that just got out of control. Anyone watch the weekend video? I talked about leverage. My goodness, it's getting up there now, guys. And of course, we've got concentration. We've got retail. We've got deregulation. We've got all sorts of things. And the market continues to fly higher. And I think probably the big one that really trapped a lot were here. And as we talked about, this was a tweezer setup. And as the market took this, there was a good chance we were going to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze because there's a lot of offside shorts. So as I often say, it's still technically not a bear like sell. The bulls are in control of this regardless of our opinions. And ultimately, our opinions don't mean much because markets can get quite irrational when they feel like it to make as much money as possible. So first up, we've got the trend line. That is the first market. The second market we need to look at is IWM. And IWM is, of course, back to that all-important level. So this is the Russell 2000. And you can see here this very clear level on the left-hand side. So we're back to that zone. And of course, waiting for direction here from Russell. And what you guys might notice is if you look at the last three candles, what are all of these candles? These candles are, of course, long-legged dojis. So they are, what is that? It's indecision. It's equilibrium at this peak. By the way, if you watch the show and you do enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up straight away right now. It does help us out. If you're on X, I don't know what you do there. Give it a little love heart. It would be much appreciated. Dull markets are drifting up on lower volumes. That's right. Absolutely. You don't want to be chasing that. Drifting a little higher Monday and Tuesday. The sell-off begins Wednesday. This is from Dave G. Welcome, Stacey. Good to have you here as always. Dave, yeah, I tend to believe the catalyst is going to be Wednesday. We've got after the close, big tech coming out. And of course, then we have big tech coming out again on Thursday. Then we have non-farm payrolls, the jobs numbers on Friday. So it's going to be, as Matt says here, huge. Going to be big. So again, supply. All right, so that's the second one. Nasdaq, pretty strong. Let's just quickly go through here. What we'll use is we'll go to the Qs. And the reason I'm just on the Qs and I'm using IWM and stuff is just to show you the real closes. So if you were to, this is the thing I hate about trend lines. You can kind of make up your own. This is what they call curve fitting. So really, if you're doing it around, there we go. So we're still, again, give or take, 50, 60 points. You can kind of see the point I'm getting at here. So is the market overbought? Yes. Is the market overpriced? Arguable. Is the market coming into the worst period? Yes. And I'm going to read a stat for you. This is a really interesting stat. I'm going to have it in tomorrow's video, so stay tuned for that. But here is the stat. S&P 500 performance in August, the second term of a post-election 1950 to current. Eisenhower, Nixon, Reagan, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump. S&P 500 August return. Negative 5.6, negative 3.7, negative 1.2, negative 5.7, negative 1.1, negative 3.1, and question mark. So that means the average return in the second term, and I know it's kind of, this is an interesting one, is negative 3.4% in August. And it has never been bullish. There you go. We just did a mic drop. That's it. So that's an interesting stat. Now, would I go trade off that? No. The answer is always no. It's a data point. But what it does is it does suggest again that somewhere in this August, September, October kind of period, which is the standard period of the weakest kind of trifecta months of the year, maybe a bear could lie. And what I'm getting at here is there is a correlation. And I said this last week, and admittedly we were sitting around 63.20-ish at that point, that I think this is the point where maybe it's worthwhile considering having some powder dry. Now, that's not a solicitation to do anything. Obviously, read the disclaimer, but it does make some sense. Now, should you still be predominantly long? Well, the market would say yes, because there is no change. Remember, if we look at the S&P, if we look at the Nasdaq, if we look at the Russell, they're all dull, they're all moving up. But they are all kind of correlated to key levels. And I always say that that's an important point. And markets will tend to push higher than people expected. So one of the keys last week was actually this candle here. As it took this high out, this actually was an excellent trade, this one over here. I quite like that bull buy there on the day trade into a couple of sessions. And this is what we call dull. Series of higher highs, higher lows, barely higher highs, and then that starts to escape. And you might say, well, this is not normal, but it's actually incredibly normal. It's exactly what you expect to happen during most of these market rallies. This is a classic case of a dull market over here. I just wanted to highlight this to you guys. And you can see here again, similar higher highs equal lows. As it gets into escape velocity, pushes up, squeezes out people. Short, everyone goes short because they're like, ha, 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 ha. Goes up, higher high, wipes, then does come back down. Now, of course, this one was at a different period of time and different area. But what I'm getting at is that this is dull. This is dull. And you don't want to attack that. Even this is dull. But what changes here? And this is the point I wanted to bring up with this area. What is the change here? The change is that it becomes highly volatile. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the last 2 weeks have actually been volatile in markets? Bishop says aluminium miners or aluminum miners. AA, I wonder if I will call it aluminum for you guys, is important for data centers. I don't know about the answer there, but of course, I believe that a lot of hard metals, minerals will be important in the future. I actually did a cross correlation between metals and XLK. We'll do it in a moment. I'll show you. That was part of my macro that I do. So this is not really a very volatile market. So Chris says low volatility or no. Ian says no. And Toad says here no. What, like watching paint dry, dull market. Yeah. So again, we don't have. Good morning, Mr. Grant. Aluminum, he says. Yeah. We definitely say aluminium here in Australia. I didn't even know what aluminum was when I first heard it. It's like color or color, as we say it. Color. Herbs. Is it herbs? Herbs. Versus herbs. There you go. So US 500, it's pretty clear to me that it's dull. It's pretty clear to me that it's currently bullish. And I just don't have a reason to say it's going to bust yet. But I do think the correlation, like it was 50, 60 points ago, or maybe even 100 points ago, is around that right area. So I think it's time to, it's time to be cautious. If there's going to be a catalyst, it'll either be jobs numbers this week, which is Friday, guys. So I'll show you here. So that is Friday, non-farm payrolls, or it's going to be one of these things, which is the earnings coming in. And there are a couple of things I'm watching. I'm actually watching Hood and Coinbase. And the reason is that I've said this a few times on the channel. The reason is that these two have been driving this market. That is that this is where retail sits. So most people that are in the markets right now love PLTR, Robinhood, Coinbase, these kind of stocks. So if these start to drop off, it's often an early, like a warning sign that the rest of the market is rotating. And of course, you've got your Meta, your Microsoft, your Apple, and your Amazon. But yeah, I'm specifically also watching Hood and Coin because that's where the deregulation and the excitement lies in this market. There's some interesting stuff there. We'll get onto that in a moment. Momentum, just so you guys know, momentum's still in the positive direction. So I've got this set to line chart, but I'll show you candles. So for this to really start dropping and going to value, we would want to see a lower low. We don't have that, so it suggests that risk is still on. As you guys know, I like the American consumer risk stocks, so that is XLY, XLP. Haven't bought that one up for a little while, but just wanted to show you again, not suggesting sells are here yet, looking for signs. And of course, the updates on bonds are also showing something very similar. So we've got that correlation across the board. Yields coming back down, so they're not at those worrying levels they were a week ago. Obviously, we never saw a breach out there. So again, nothing happening yet. So it's probably going to be one of those catalysts that's going to do something. Just give me 1 sec. I've got a monitor on. I didn't realize my son's coughing. Don't want you guys to have to hear that. 1 second here. Fix it. There we go. No worries. Never swell. Always buy on any time frame to forever. I think that is probably going to be eventually wrong, but I like your interesting clown picture there. It's cool. Finley says, Tom, could you have a look at gold? Yeah, certainly will in a second. We're just getting through this first bit. So I've looked at that. Obviously, on the weekend video, I did some macro. I showed the debt. I showed the high-low in particular. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just switch the screen here for a second. Jump on over to the channel. And we'll go here. There we go. This is some of you guys. I love that meme too much. But no, in all seriousness, this one here, the high-low. So this is basically showing that a lot of shorts have been squeezed out. So I think that this is it's not the extreme read we got in 21, but it certainly is a very high read. And if you actually look back on a lot of these reads, this has been, again, a point where the euphoria, the FOMO, the hyperactivity goes into the market. Sometimes it can even push another 20% on single stocks, but ultimately it always ends the same way. And I think that's important to state here. They ultimately end very, very similar ways. The correlation is there, but you'd have to be patient. And I know some of you guys maybe haven't been around the market for that long. Out of interest, put it in the chat. How long have you been trading and investing? And yeah, let us know. Clown says the word euphoria needs to be banned. Okay. Does 175 target remain for the rest of 2025 for the NVDA position? I think NVIDIA is 175 was where I expected it to start crapping out. So effectively, it's had a great run. 175 made sense to me as a ratio trade. And you guys know I love position-based ratioing, where you get your kind of average prices and you realize it's cheap and then you take it back. And sometimes you take it to one standard deviation. But yeah, in this case, it's I want to see more from semis. And if you look at Semiconductor SPY, it's kind of weakening a little. So this actually is changing a little bit in terms of it's consolidating. It's not strengthening the way it was. So Semiconductor SPY certainly a little bit weaker. The other one is RK SPY, and there I mentioned that one. You can see here it's still making a series of high highs, high lows. And the other chart that I wanted to show before was XME versus XLK. And I think this is a really interesting chart because that actually shows that metals and tech are neck and neck. So could it be that metals really is just an AI proxy nowadays? Look at this. It is so wild how clear it's been for a while now. And I'm a massive fan of metals, but yeah, it's actually interesting how proxy-ish it is when you look back till 2022 that they're almost absolutely neck and neck, which is a really, yeah, I thought that was pretty profound when I saw it. So we've got here since 1996. Wow, Donald, give you a shout out. Since 1977 from Ron. Well done. 5 years. A lot of people coming in 2020, I would think. A few people 2017. Okay, interesting. Or 18 kind of period. 3 years, 6 years. Quite a lot of 19, 20 years. Very cool. 15. We've got all sorts. 6 months. Pretty new. Welcome. MEMI's 2020. 18 months. Yeah, it's cool. Did DTCC's great collateral experiment, aka tokenization, last April stop the market from dumping? I think tokenization is a huge component of why the market's up. And I've always said the bull case scenario was turn tariffs off or reduce them. It was to deregulate, which has now been done to a degree. And it was to get tax cuts through, which has now been done. Pretty much been done. So what that does is it sugar rushes the market. Obviously, the tariffs are still in play. I think they will play out ultimately. I think it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. It's just when. And because we already knew that inventory was going to be stacked up, it could be as long as 12 plus months. So that could be there as well. Bishop says, what I don't understand is where are the hundreds of billions these companies say they are investing coming from? They don't have that much dollar debt. We love debt. So debt is the grower of the US economy. Don't believe me? Have a look. Debt is pretty much the number one read. Ron was 2.5 when he started. He was also disco dancing at 18 months. Yeah. Since 2014, 31 now. Thanks, Dad. That's very cool. Very cool as well. 1979. SPY and XSP have 2 and 3 plus PC ratio. Is that a sign that traders are more bearish than you would expect based on PC ratios? Well, usually, I mean, with PC ratios or PCC, I usually look at equities indices and I have like a line that says overbought and a line that says way too fearful. And I tend to mostly pay attention to the fear end because the fear end, along with good technicals, is great buy opportunity. So Clown would like that one. The top end side here is less of a good read. So that's that 0.66 kind of ratio. I haven't looked at too many single stock put calls. I'm not finding it to be a great read anymore. Not as good as it once was. That's very cool. I still have my very first stock certificate in my office. I like that very much. Would you rotate to XLP and XLV instead of selling? It is worthy of thinking about. I've been watching XLV particularly the last week. I think it's been improving. So yeah, there are some stocks underneath the hood that seem to be going there. Rotation seems to be coming through, but it's only the beginning. So if I see it, I'm talking about in the private here. Probably not quite ready to do all the combos yet, but I'm sure we'll bring it up at some point if we do see breakouts. I honestly would have never thought BTC would become a thing that it has. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think one crypto dollar that I was literally creating on a computer back in 2010 would be worth 120,000 US dollars, but that might be because maybe US dollars are the new peso, and so is Australian dollars, and so is pounds, and fiat is just generally crap. I don't know. Maybe it is. Let's speak through a couple other markets. We'll go through here the alts. So obviously, I still like Bitcoin. I really like the daily close. I think it's coming up here. It's testing 120. A close above this on the daily could be a really good signal that we're getting a new high. And for now, it's a pit. So that is the market is still bullish daily, bullish weekly, bullish monthly. I'm bullish. I don't know why I would be bearish. So that's how it is. And Ethereum is the same. I'm looking for that just sub 4K marker after we hit the first one again. It's bullish daily, bullish monthly, bullish weekly. So there's no reason to say. And the pits have been quite good. A few people from the day trading masterclass got some excellent trades here. It's actually quite a good trade pair at the moment. Very, very strong purchasing off this base in here. Quite nice. So it was quite nice. Certainly replication. And I think that's the key. You know, you want replication if you're going to take a stab at these kind of levels. China, still bullish in China. Obviously looking for 26,000 plus in terms of at least the technical levels. Gold, a few people getting worried about this. Back to the most traded area. Excuse me. So why is that important? Because the most traded area, effectively the most traded area, it's where the biggest amount of volume's gone through. And of course, if we do clear the top, then we're looking towards, you know, probably really big numbers. Like I would like to see 4,000. You know, I think that this is a decent pit now. We've been sitting here since the hype. It is now the third most crowded trade in the world. The most crowded trade in the world is dollar index. So US dollar is now the most shorted thing in terms of that's what everyone's doing with it. So then why wouldn't it be up today? You know what I'm saying? It's heavily shorted and it's way too shorted. So there's a decent chance that if dollar goes up, it will continue to force gold sideways. But I still think gold looks pretty solid. And ultimately, I'd like to see it at a 4,000, I think, in terms of maybe upgrading it. Silver, still fine, no turnaround. So look, we'll update every day on silver and gold. But for now, they're both weakish on small time frames, strong on high time frames, no real change of trend. So no change of trend, not too bad. Dollar index, have a look at this, 0.55, quite strong. Really could be that inverse head and shoulder. So if we pull this, you set charts annoy me, but if we pull this down, what do you guys think? Is that an inverse head and shoulder? Also, thank you to the almost 2,000 people joining us here today live. Appreciate it throughout the platforms. Thanks very much, guys. What do you do if you're all in cash? Well, it depends what your time horizon is and why you're all in cash and what you're trying to achieve. I mean, a trader is not really going to need to care too much about price. You're just taking. So a trader, there's someone that trades daily or swings or anything like that. You don't really care about, that type of stuff. You just want to take a replication trade. So it really doesn't matter. Now, if you're an investor and you're all in cash, then you probably need a half decent price. And I found over the years, patience generally pays. But the problem is, do you have a plan when fear comes into the market? Because there's always a reason and it's always compelling and it always freaks everyone else out. So I think that's a very key point, that it's easy to, that's why most people can't time markets. But you can see here, US dollar looks very inverse head and shouldery. If it does break through, that could make a really strong dollar move. If we get a really strong dollar move, the old style thinking was if the US dollar is going up a lot, you often see pullbacks in markets. Not that correlated anymore, but certainly something to watch. So the dollar could be finding some strength here. Early signs of potential inverse head and shoulders. So we covered gold, covered China. China's bullish and just stimulus, really. All the crypto crap is going pretty well, guys. Solana seemed to have broken out a little bit while ago, so that was pretty decent. You can see here, Solana, decent little rally off this area. Very nice base formation break on the 16th. So, yeah, I mean, the crypto is what it is. So, pretty interesting. CRISPR seems toppy and pumpy at the same time. Yeah, so a lot of the bios have been doing that. I'll just show guys CRISPR. So this is a CRISPR biotech. Had a really sleepy kind of period for a long time, didn't do well at all. And then it's been consolidating for the last kind of 2 years. Like all bios, they pump and then they dump. And this is the problem with bios is they do this. Sometimes they just keep rallying, but yeah, it's intended to do that. So somewhere around in these highs here would be where I'd think it could weaken off. Token issuers, especially stablecoin issuers, are going to be US debt buyers. Yeah, this is going to be very, yeah, I have no idea how that whole system yet is really going to play. I'm still looking into it. Love says, I'm holding physical gold and silver. Very cool. Love physical gold and silver. It's pretty awesome. This feels like February 21. Yeah, it does, except it's not quite the level of hype. But then again, I think our community is not a hype bull. So we're mostly neutral kind of people that recognize that markets are generally bullish. And we also recognize that you want to be long, but you also want to know your macro. You want to know when times are good and times are bad and be more informed. I'm not sure what's going on in hype bull world, but I'm sure some of you guys watch hype channels. Are people going ballistic? Guys in the chat, you tell me. I don't know. I don't look at it. Tom, can you please check how ETH can go? Well, it's not really a question of the FE or whatever. Just look at Ethereum and you would correlate it back to Ethereum price. So how high can Ethereum go? The previous highs that it hit, there's no reason it couldn't hit those. But for now, I'm targeting that 4K from a technical level. David T says, not yet. No one's going crazy. Some people are going absolutely nuts on Palantir. Oh, yeah, I can see why. Yeah, I didn't know it was 160 already. I don't have alerts on this anymore. Yeah, it's very dull. And yeah, that's the typical kind of way a market will climb. Comes down, everyone tries to short, hits the same low, comes up, keeps kind of pulling through. So for now, fairly large outlier candles. Let's have a look here. These not that big. This I would have thought kept it down for longer. So if I had to guess, I would have said about 110 would have gone sideways for a bit longer, but it didn't. And this market is clearly a huge winner, I think, of all sorts of things, if you get what I'm saying. Donut is my meme flavor of the month. D-nut. Krispy Kreme. Oh, yeah, because it's getting that little bit of a ramp in it. I want to short Palantir so bad when the VIX wakes up. Yeah, but you remember if it was strong for a reason, it also has a lot of dip buyers in it. So you need to remember that if something comes in with a lot of momentum, while it can be an excellent short and it can get incredibly volatile, you've got to remember there will be dip purchasing as well. So as soon as those people find the price bottom, they will dip and try to buy it. So Palantir, the problem is people have now seen 160. So if it drops quickly to 130, everyone's going to think that's a bargain because they think they can get it back to 160, if you know what I'm saying. So there will be like drops heavy, rallies, drops heavy. And what happens, you get higher volatility. Speaking of volatility, we are now officially in vol season. So vol season starts around this kind of back end of July into August. So this is technically where volatility has spiked in the past. And I think the problem is a lot of people are aware of this nowadays. You guys on the internet got a little bit smarter. And a lot of people like us shared this over the years, and it's kind of been disseminated everywhere. So it may not be as effective as it once was, but you can see here, back end, middle of July, get the vol spike. So of course that did happen last year, so you got to remember that. Here we get a vol spike back end of July, so you can again see vol spike, secondary vol spike into October, very classic. Over here, if we go to 22, obviously 22 had heaps of vol spikes, but we got an August vol spike. Took until the 15th of August to get that volatility spike. We go to 2021. You can see volatility spikes came in August. You can see why people really believe this, because it's like for most of my, well, pretty much all my trading career, this has been a pretty normal thing. August again, middle August 2020, got the vol spike. 2019 time, middle back end of July, where we are right now, got the vol spike. I'm just showing this so you can kind of see here why people use this. This one was slower, no volatility until October. That's 2018. 2017, we got a back end kind of slight volatility spike up to 16, bit less vol. So what actually happened was we didn't get the normal period here. And this is the interesting one, because I think this was the beginning of tariffs. And yeah, because I remember that Christmas sucked that year because I had to go and trade. You had no choice. It was absolutely bonkers. The tech stocks got obliterated during that period of time. So that was right around Christmas 2017 to 18. And yeah, that was a big one. So big vol spike, but you actually skipped it during this period. Now that's possible, but again, you can see how many years it's been consistent. We go back into 15. You again see August. Look at the vol spike that comes to 15, 16. I'm just kind of again showing you here. August, middle, couple of vol spikes. So pretty consistent. Tends to happen around this period of time. And yeah, that's why people believe in it. Couple of stocks, watch coin. Coin certainly starting to weaken a little bit off tokenization. And of course, Hood, you can see here, rally, a little bit of a drop, higher vol. So volatility is now in these stocks, not in Palantir, but it is in these two. And that's what I'm looking for. So I'm now saying, well, okay, I've seen this. The market's grinding higher. I'm not going to do anything, but I'm certainly watching and waiting. What's happened? Santa never came. No, Santa came. He gave good prices. Santa came. Santa's sleigh was burning, guys. I don't know what was happening. And then we had to get some fire extinguishers and put it out. But don't worry, everyone was okay in the end. Seems like rotation into XLU. The thing is with XLU is XLU has been a bit of a proxy for everything that we're seeing in terms of AI, so the energy. So instead, I'm looking at XLV, XLP particularly, and you'll notice here if you look at XLV, it's basing even with bad. But you got to remember, it's bad news stories everywhere. I mean, I don't really keep up to date too much with the American healthcare news. But what I do know is price action and flows. And of course, I can only assume, and you guys can tell me who watch the TV out there, is it bad news about healthcare all the time in America? Like, we're going to smoke this company, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I mean, I can only imagine it is. And that usually is when you form bases. And you can see here, volume has been picking up a little bit. So certainly an area I'm looking at quite closely. We'll do a quick rundown here for the main stocks. We've got Apple. I would say this is bullish neutral coming in. That is that the price action is bullish, similar to Google last week, but it is neutral because it isn't coming in with a big, strong left-hand side. So yeah, probably, could do anything really. It's not really that clear. Amazon coming in with a pretty strong left-hand side. I would think guidance would be bad. I mean, how is guidance not going to be bad? What do you guys think about this one? Is it bad? It doesn't fill me with the confidence, this one here. I have a hard time holding past 20% gains. Any tips to hodl? Yeah, so ask yourself, well, firstly, what was your plan? I mean, if your plan was to get into a stock and to take it to a TP zone, and then you took it at 20%, but you were meant to make 40%, then you just failed yourself. If your plan was to buy into it and you believed in the company, you did some fundamentals, and you do all this big work and this big plan and this big concept, and then it hits 20% and take it off the table, then I think you need to really revisit how much risk you're putting on the table, firstly. And also the fact is that you obviously aren't very confident, because why would you be closing the position early? You're not confident in your position. And that's generally due to over risk, I find, with guys. So this one, again, my opinion could be bad, but I think the thing is the left-hand side is quite strong. So predominantly any stock we've been seeing coming in really hot has been underperforming the earnings. So it's coming in hot, real hot, but not super hot. Microsoft's coming in super hot, super hot. So again, I would think more likely buy the rumor, sell the facts. Don't go do anything off that. It's just more likely based on what we see in the past. And NVDA, obviously earnings are a little while away, but that's there. And Meta, a bit weaker up here at the top. A very question mark. I can't see how Meta keeps its platform going for forever, because it really has destroyed Facebook in terms of anything but a money-making machine. However, it is a money-making machine at the moment. If you if you look back at American history, political violence tends to be alarmingly common, potentially. I'd like to see the gaps fill in first 30 minutes, says Spacinator. Yep, so we're going to gap up at the moment just slightly. So you'd be looking for a fill just slightly down. You can see here the European markets are starting 0.67 under. NVIDIA is trying to get to 200. It's very possible. It's not that overpriced. It's kind of normal at this stage. Andreas says, I'm long-term on biopharma. Fair enough. But I see money going down and it freaks me out. Have you faced that reality before? Yes. Yes, of course you do. And the issue is in markets is having the temperament to be able to hold a position through those periods is very tough. So you might have a great plan. I'm sure we've all had this, guys. I mean, what's the stock that you've had like a great plan for and then it just hasn't worked out for you? So for me, I guess one of the things is in not straight away. One of the classics for me was probably being early to, I would say gold in some cases. I was pretty early on gold and people were hating on it. And there were all these bear cases and crappy things and all sorts of things. So for me, that was a bit of a tough one because it actually did go down a little bit before, at least initially. But I think that probably the hardest trade is being metals in certain metal areas, especially rare earth minerals, where I've been consistently bullish for about 6 months, 6, 9, 10 months. And they've been like this. That's the payoff. But yeah, I was really early on rare earth minerals recently. I think I was pretty much in it like a little bit less than a year ago. So took a while. It's beaten the S&P now, but it took a while. So the old rare earth mineral metals probably the most harsh in the recent times. We're definitely due a little pullback. We are due, but of course, a lot of people are saying this is the most hated V-shaped recovery of all time because people are trying to short it off. I think we're getting close. Correlation is there, but I need a catalyst, and the catalyst is going to be some BS news story, and I don't know what that is yet. It could be non-farms. It could be earnings. If I had to guess, it's going to be big tech rotation. And remember, big tech now, it got repriced in, I think, 2017, 2018. So what that meant was that we went from having tech being like one sector to tech getting split. So if you actually add it together, did you know that 44 to 47% of the S&P is tech? So imagine if you get a rotation out of the big four at any point, an Apple, a Microsoft, an Amazon, a Google, or any of that. Well, the big seven, I guess. Once that happens, if you get rotation out of those, it dives the S&P, because ultimately, even though you might have a rotation into metals, a rotation into, I don't know, whatever, healthcare or something, it doesn't matter. They're too small. So these markets are so concentrated with innovation that when tech gives up, it really does just end up busting the actual S&P. It's getting a bit scary, but all bull runs are. If you don't have a wall of worry, you can't go up. No worries. They are not overpriced stocks. They all have infinite value. Yeah. I was very bullish on RGTI when it was 85 cents and had 10K shares for over several years, and it went nowhere. Reduced my position to 1/10 and ignored. Happy I have some, but wish I didn't bail early. But I've got to say, this is a great story, Dan. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to give you a clap, bro. And you know why I'm going to give you a clap? Because at least you left some in. Now, I'm sure you wish you left 3/10, but the problem was that you maybe were a little bit high in it in terms of your own portfolio. And yeah, that's what happens sometimes with these cheaper shares. But well done for leaving some in, because a lot of people just close it all off and leave it. At least you left some in. You did get some benefits from it. So good work, dude. Any thoughts on AMC? Not really. I don't think so. Which are good defensives to watch? I'm watching healthcare. I'm watching staples, so the two sectors. I'm watching RSP versus SPY, which I bought up recently. And so I'm looking for this to really bust higher, because that's traditionally been a bit of a read of the last couple of years. You think about it, this was the read that this started accelerating, and it was kind of the end of that run for the time being. I know that's what a lot of you guys are looking for. I mean, we could sit here and talk about bull, 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 bull. It depends. What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer I just talk about bull, 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 and bull stock, or do you prefer I talk about these potential signs? I'm actually interested in that. Let me know your feedback. Just bull all day, which I'm sure what a lot of channels do, or do you want to? I'm sure you can find some bull stocks. It's not difficult in a bull uptick. Anything looks bullish, really. Yeah, but yeah, I think the rotation and that's the key to markets. If I had to say, like, my favorite thing about markets is always the rotation through pairs. I love it. I love the fact that we went, some gold, silver there for a bit. We've seen a bit of China, and as I said, like, even if you went long America, you could have just been long China. It's done very well, very nicely the last couple of weeks, and probably less risk because it's not as overbought. Bit of both. Yeah. Ratio is my favorite. Yeah, I like ratios too. Both sides always there. Rotation is the left bull nut to the right. Oh, I don't know who this guy is, but it's pretty funny comment. That's actually pretty good. Okay, bull, but potential stock is an amazing content idea. Mm-hmm. American Eagle AOE looking any good? AOE. American Eagle. Not AOE. I thought American Eagle was some kind of a silver or something. Thomas, Google is bullish, pushing the upper Bollinger Bands, but it's under 197. Yeah, look, Google is the cheapest still fundamentally. It technically should have a new high on it. It had pretty good earnings, I thought. I like it a lot. I mean, fundamentally, I've said Google for a while has been my favored pair in terms of the big tech. But see, the thing is, it's up a bit from these levels, but it's not up as much as some of the others. And that again shows you that you can look at it on paper and say, wow, this thing's cheap. But it doesn't mean it's the best buy. So in a momentum market, momentum wins. And that's why you've got your Palantirs, your Hoods, your Microsofts and stuff doing a bit better. Have a look here at oil, up 2 and a bit today, 2.7, coming off this low. So I've been a bit negative on oil. Did look negative last week, was negative last week. I'm actually going to watch this level. I want to set an alert up here. I want to know if it breaks. Because that going, well, stupid, but I'll use my other alert tool, but that's okay. So this is going to be a very interesting breakout if that does happen. I'm short time bearish. Yeah, fair enough. I get it here. There's a left correlation. Tan Solar has a huge bull flag. Oh, Tan's been pretty bad since the election, actually even before. But yeah, I mean, yes, you're right. Some nice. We have looked at this recently. Some nice breakouts. That's actually an awesome trend line down break. Yeah, I'd have to say the bottom looks in for solar. Look at that. Look at that break. That is, and again, hits the most negative news you probably ever think of. Breaches this. Just recently turned bullish. The stops under here and here would be where it's at. Do realize though, a lot of these businesses don't make much money, so it's but they are way cheaper than they were. Thoughts in uranium? I like uranium, and uranium sector is one of my favorites in the world at this stage. And yeah, I've continued to like uranium. This was actually one I was early to as well, and I had to ride, so I was more in here. Probably see why. Yeah, let's not talk about that bit. But yeah, I was quite bullish on this, and it took a little while to play out. Percentage wise, very nice, of course, from these levels, but yeah, it took a little while to play out. 51 plus now, but some people say, well, Tom, I made 50% in a week. Okay. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's a good trade, investment position based, whatever you want to call it. I've talked about it for a long time. It's similar to rare earth mineral metals. I think it's an opportunity. Do you think the market is going to go 10% before there is a pullback? No would be my answer. I don't think it's going to go 10% further up without a pullback. It's unlikely. We're hitting some fairly extreme zones. We talked about the August stat, which I'll have in the next video, so definitely stay tuned for that. We're pretty far away from weekly 20s. Not extremely far, but when I've usually gone through and highlighted these types of periods, yeah, we've been over 10% before. But if you go here to the daily, pretty dull, probably due a little 20 at least. But look, the general rule is that once or twice a year you'll get pullbacks, and we've already had one, so there's really only usually one left. So one major one left, and the general garden variety of pullback is only 5 to 8%. So if you know it's only 5 to 8%, you can't really expect it to be that brutal. The only thing that could go past that is going to be something that really cracks the system. And I don't think everyone's all in yet. Remember, to crash a market, you have to have everyone all in. And it has to be that it is a point in time where nobody believes the Fed or the US government or some other central bank is not going to continue the Ponzi scheme. So the question I ask all of you guys is, are we at the point yet where no one under 40 believes a crash can even occur, and nobody above 40 that's gone through one thinks it's going to happen again? Because until all the bears die, you can't have a crash. They all have to die. And I actually don't know who's the most prominent bear left. Anybody know? I want to track them. Who are the prominent bears? Because I'm not a prominent bear. I just want to know who the prominent bears are. I'm someone that's looking for opportunity, as you guys are as well. But who are the new prominent bears? Michael Burry closed. Well, his Twitter was going off years ago, so I feel he's done with that. So who's still out there? Schiff? Is Schiff bearish? I don't even know. But he just talks about gold all the time. Burry, but I think he died. Why? Yeah, very good. Schiff is the eternal bear. I thought he was just an eternal gold person. Ray Dalio. But Ray Dalio buys. He just recently sold S&P and went and bought some gold and China stocks, I think. Druckenmiller. Well, no, the problem is you can't tell me all of these guys that just go on TV and talk about it. I mean, I want to know the ones that put the money in. Because Druckenmiller goes on TV and says, "Oh, I've never seen physical irresponsibility like this. It's terrible." And the next minute you find out the bro's been buying, $5 billion of NVDA, and he's like, "Yeah, PLTR is the best stock." You know what I mean? Like, I love Druck. I'd love to meet him one day. He's like, I love his, trades of 30 years. He's exceptional stuff. But let's be real. What they say and what they do is a little bit different. I want people that, and Ray Dalio does the same thing. So I want the real bears. Jamie Dimon. There are no real bears. I think they're dead. I'm not taking the Jamie Dimon that comes on TV and says, "I've seen 7 red flags on the economy. They're all going to drop us." I'm not interested in Jamie Dimon's. I think the next move for interest rates are down 7, and then 2 months later, I think the next move for interest rates is we have to hike. you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, dude makes tons of money. He's a beast, but yeah, wow. Michael Gayed. I don't know. Jim Chanos. I'm just writing down random names now. I need to find the bears. Big ones. Diamond just says the opposite of what Chase invests in, potentially. Let me ask AI. All right, cool, guys. That was probably a good AI question, but I'll find the prominent bears and we will have to go and do some hunting on the on the wild world web for the bears. The prominent bears must be found. But I would definitely say Michael Burry, he's in hiding. After that bloody post in 2024 or whatever it was, that 23 one. My God, that was bad, wasn't it? Poor guy. Posts, everyone goes nuts, closes the account, comes back a little bit later. So today we're coming in pretty much flat, guys. We were up a little bit. We are seeing slight rotation to small caps for anyone that's just coming in. We're 4 minutes off the open here. I've been going a little ranty about bears and stuff, but there's reasons behind it. Watching US dollar this week, the potential of the inverse head and shoulders. And that, of course, is a very interesting play there against the general consensus. So if that starts coming in, that'll be interesting. Most of the thoughts are pretty much the same. It's a dull market. It has correlated, but doesn't mean it's an excellent short. We do have crypto crap that's flown up pretty decent. 125, so 120,500 Bitcoin closed daily would be pretty strong. And of course, we're looking towards the VIX being in the main season. I think the most notable stat coming into today is that August has never been bullish in second term presidential years. Boom. Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat, doesn't matter whether you're a Republican, doesn't matter whether you're an independent. That's the reality. I think I've forgotten about what our own political system is here in Australia now. You guys in America, my God, we're not going into it, but I tell you what, I don't know anything about what's going on in Australia, but I seem to know daily what's happening in America. That's the way it goes. September cut 0.5 point, I think, probably. Tom, Inod is apparently a good company, but I hate its chart. I don't know. I'll just have a quick look at it into the open just because I read that. What is this? What is this? How big is it? Too small. It needs to be 5 billion plus, bro. Yeah. It's not a hateful chart. It's just what are you gonna do? Like what kind of history does this really have? It's pretty sidewaysy. It's all right. Just kind of like sitting in an area. So anyway, it doesn't give me anything. It's neutral. I feel it's so neutral. It's neutral. What about Google? Checked it out just before. MSTR, yeah. Saylor's been purchasing. I saw he's got another $2 billion or something going out. So what's the announcement here? You got MicroStrategy. I tell you, how many of these are now out there, guys? How many MicroStrategy clones are out there in the markets? Last count, what was it, 130 plus? Anyone got a current count? This count might have been from a month to 2 months ago. So we'll go with a month ago. Does anyone know how many MSTR clone businesses there are? If this goes up to like 250 plus, and then it becomes like, what is it at the moment? 3% of all of Bitcoin. If it becomes like 10%, oh, we're going to have a film. We're going to have a film about it. It's going to be absolutely wild. 170 plus. Is that true? 170. 139 from TX. Wow. All right. We are coming into the open here, guys. We have got flat. It is flat, flat, flat. Wednesday after the close, Thursday after the close. Want to watch those. Yeah, as I said, August is upon us almost. Interesting times. The time of VIX is here, so volatility may spike. Doesn't mean go buy VIX because VIX is a hideous trade generally, but it is the time that usually does spike up, and it is really flat now. Very, very, very flat. The most notable thing is dollar bull. Dollar bull. All right, here we go. Here it comes. Mark, ding, ding, ding. We are open, guys. Amazon up 1. NVIDIA up 0.5. Microsoft flat pretty much. Google flat-ish, down 0.19. And the markets did open literally exactly where they closed. So S&P closed and opened pretty much the exact same zone on the curve-fitted trend line. So let's actually get that trend line down. So there we go. That's about right. So we're basically still on the trend line. And that's where we find ourselves here on the Monday of the 28th of July. AMD, let's go. Yes, AMD, I forgot to mention that has purchases on calls, supposedly extreme call options coming in last week into today. And very nice rally. I actually thought it might be a little bit more bearish around 140. Congrats if you were a holder here and you kept going. I loved it down in here. I told you guys I was a little bit early on my little tweezer over here kind of action, but very, very nice. And it is actually hitting a target here between 170 and 180 today, which is that supply on the left-hand side. So obviously very, very nice, but a lot of calls to the point where it's actually now hitting the media about how much here is this. Talk about Tesla before we go. I have a 190 buy price in April. Sure, we'll have a look at Tesla. Interesting stock stuck in the middle. This is just going to be about hype train from Elon. You know, pretty much what has Elon got in store for all of us? I don't know. But he claims that there's some massive announcement coming into the end of the year. Probably be some kind of Optimus dancing robo slave that drives a car. Maybe it's going to be that. I don't know. But clearly Tesla stuck between two areas. Particularly, you've got your 300, 280, and you've got your 330 plus. And I don't know. I am so neutral here, guys. Like if you're buying down here, it makes sense. If you're selling up here, it makes sense. You've got potentially of kind of like a series of lower highs now that are coming through. I mean, is anyone super bullish this? I don't know. I'm not super bullish. I'm not really anything. If you look at the last earnings, they weren't good. I've got to say. On paper, not good. In reality, who knows? It's pulled paper out of it. It's done a lot of things in the past where it's managed to kind of get out of tough situations. But yeah, I'm just going to 280, 300 on the buy end at this stage. And all I'm doing is looking at the option. So I wish it was easier than that or more information than that, but I don't really think so. It's so neutral. That's a neutral price. So I don't really get anything past that. If we got a pullback, to what would gold and silver go up or down? I think that if we got a pullback because dollar may be driving the rally up, gold and silver could stabilize or go down. I don't think they'd go up. What about Marvel? It's hella cheap. I usually say if it's been hella cheap, it's not a winner. Why is it not rallying? Why is it not rallying already? So if you've got like a bunch of semiconductors all going at once, you buy the winners. Remember, in capitalism, guys, the winners keep winning and the losers get eaten. And the small businesses get eaten by the winners. It's pretty much that simple. So why do we have giant megacorps? Because in capitalism, until they're broken up or they die due to mismanagement, slow deaths, it is always about the winners continue to win and they eat everyone else. And that is usually a pretty good philosophy of why investing in America has been pretty easy, is just buy the winners. And then they eat the small fish. When something gets good, they buy it. And that's why sometimes you see businesses where they'll sell and another business will buy it. And what will happen? They'll just close it down the next day and they'll say, competition gone. Good work, guys. That's all they do. I mean, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's a good philosophy, I think, in the American market. Don't you think it's undervalued though? Could be decent. Yeah, I mean, look, I'll have a look for you. It's not about my opinion on undervalued or overvalued for this Marvel stock. It's always about price action. So if you look at it and you say, well, it should be here. Let's just say you believe it should be here or some new high or something like that. You've got to say, okay, well, what's the price action tell me? So it's slowly kind of got above here. That's obviously broken. I would say price action wise, it's not too bad because you've got kind of your low, your lower low, your rally up. It is changed trend towards the bull side. So you've got decent stop loss potential. I would say there's tradability on it, but I don't know if it's investability. Probably not investability because it's not a winner. But yeah, I can see a case why you like that. And I think it's already 60 alert. It's too low. I see why you're doing it. That's going to take the market to go down. That's just because the USA has pathetic antitrust enforcement, possibly, but that's just kind of the reality. Is Barber breaking out? Barber in China did break out. It actually had the island reversal, and it has been quite strong in recent times. So yeah, I like the Chinese stocks at this stage. I think they present decent value for money, and you can see here that Barber's also been consolidating on this trend line. And as it breaks, that's usually good because it's in the direction of trend. Classic Spirit Airlines. What is Spirit Airlines doing? Was it Spirit Airlines? Yeah. What the hell is this? What is the code? I don't even know what Spirit Airlines code is. I don't trade airline companies. I try not to. They scare me. One falls out of the sky, 20% gone. Thank you very much. Millions of zeros or O's. Thank you. Appreciate it. SPR is the ticker. Oh, okay. Thank you. Spirit Aero Systems. Is this like Jetstar of the US, the cheap one? Yeah. Is Spirit cheap? Oh, I need to tell you guys something. This is the world we live in. Supposedly, aeroplane companies are trying to buy our data, well, they probably already have, and change the pricing of the tickets depending on how much you earn. Did you guys hear about that? I find that quite outrageous. That is outrageous, guys. Pricing based on how much they know you have. So let's say you got a lot of money, $600 for you. Let's say they know that you can't afford it, but they know they can push you, $250 for you. Maybe I need to go get a VPN sponsor, guys. Time to pretend to be homeless. I was thinking the same thing. I got to get down to Uniqlo immediately. I get Uniqlo shirt, Uniqlo everything. $10 decked. SPR is Spirit Aircraft Makers. Oh, okay. This isn't the right one. That's absolutely terrifying. So, guys, that is the new future. AI directed pricing that bases on data that they buy about you. Holy moly. Can you imagine some of the capitalistic ways that this is going to build some of these stocks? I'm going to get bullish on those stocks because it's going to be pretty wild. But yeah, that's what's going to happen in the future. Is anyone verified this? I heard, but I haven't seen it yet. Value charging, yeah. Let's do a poll. MSTR will now show returns on BTC this earnings. Okay. You mean how much money they've made from Bitcoin? Couldn't that already be calculated though? I would think that's already been calculated. Citadel drove the price down and then repurchased and changed the ticker symbol. Reminded me of Charlie Sheen movie called Stock Market. Yeah. They already charge you more based on previous flight surges. Yeah, I know that. That's why you have to switch the bloody codes. You know, it's nuts. Government kept them from reporting in Bitcoin. Okay. BYD is confusing. What do you think? Yeah, so BYD is car company, if you're not familiar. Building your dreams. That's what they're doing. What's the confusion about this? It's going up, sir. Trend is generally bullish. This is a nasty candle to trap shorters. And then they've gone, ha. But in general, cutthroat, likely to be one of the biggest players. This isn't it. What is this? This isn't what I want. Not BYD. This is the one. Oh, the hell happened here? I thought the trend was up. Split, I guess. The hell is this? What? That's got to be a split. What the? That looks like a split because it was bullish last time I checked. I mean, I don't own it. Is it? Am I on the wrong one? Contract split. Okay. Oh, good God. Look at that thing. That should be repriced in TradingView already. All right. Well, with that bombshell, I guess we'll leave the stuff to the rest of the week, guys. I've got data stats coming for August. I have more information, of course, coming out about leverage, how the system's been pushed. Obviously, squeezes have happened on shorts. We're probably getting near to the statistical level for these to be a little bit over squeezed. We are at correlation. The dollar is now up 0.68 on the day, which is pretty strong. So certainly something to watch. Oil also making some movements here. So these are things that you just do not see unless you're looking at price. So price action and flow, XLV, XLP a little bit, dollar index, what is all this? This is a little bit sneaky out here. So we're looking, we're watching, we're sniffing. We'll find out what goes on. And of course, Wednesday, Thursday after the close, I'll update you guys. Now, little announcement next week, and I'll see what I can do about the week after. The Monday live stream. Not necessarily all the videos, although next week will be a little bit reduced. So I'll probably do only a couple of videos, maybe 3 next week. This week, all good. I will be kind of traveling a little bit. So I'll do my best as always, but we will not have a live stream for next Monday. So this is the week that really matters. This is the week that probably kicks things off. As is usual, whenever I travel, I'm sure the market will crash into my travel. I don't think it ever doesn't do that. So, whenever I go away for a week, I just want to have like a little bit of time. No, it falls off. So that's why I think we're in the matrix. And as soon as that happens, it'll happen. So we kick off August, bring the data. Next week, Monday, I will not be able to do the live stream. Okay. So I'll just be in a location that won't be time positive. Tom, are you long XRP? You know I'm not, but I do think that XRP has legs because, of course, of the very unique circumstances we ended up finding ourselves in. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day. We've looked at quite a few things. We looked at a couple of single stocks. We gave some ideas, and yeah, I think it's a pivotal week. It's a big week. 1% down on Euro market already. Watch your tech. Watch your tech. And we will update daily this week to figure out what's happening. So thank you so much. As always, appreciate your feedback as well. For anyone that filled in my question on Twitter, I will bring a little bit more education, a little bit more clarification into the shows for the daily shows. And I think another one was you guys want a little bit more stock switching. So maybe we'll do like a couple of stocks of the week. We did try that for a bit. It was okay. So we can always do that. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.